Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and welcome back once again, after a little while actually, to DCS. Today, in case you haven't guessed, we're going to be taking a look at the C-130 Hercules mod that's been out for a while now on version, I believe, 2.8.2, and we're going to give this aircraft a very thorough review. It is just a sort of troop, well, it is a troop transport primarily, but this variant has the option to convert to an AC-130 as well. You can see we've got those JADO tanks on there, and there's quite a bit more to look at, so we'll go ahead and get started here. First off, in the mission editor screen, to take a look at the various cargoes and attachments and armament that we can carry in the Hercules. Let's begin. Okay, and here we are in the mission editor for the C-130. You can see immediately that we don't have the underwing pylons. Those do appear as the aircraft is spawned. It's the same thing with our cannons for the C-130 variant. But here is our aircraft. Two paint schemes available initially. There is the default and the bare metal option. So if you want to fly like a really, really early model C-130, you can. But we're going to be sticking with the default model. Just a little bit more realistic. You can see the chaff and flare dispensers disappear on the bare metal. So we're going to stick with this guy for today. I'm going to take a look at some of the armament. This is the setup that we have right now with the two inboard wing tanks, the JADOs, and some cargo inside. But there's quite a bit more we can add as well. So looking at, first and foremost, this is just the JADO station. So you either have JADOs on or off. P1 through 4 are your pylons, 1 through 4 going left to right. And there's quite a bit of kit that you can have. You can have 6 Mark 82s, the fuel tank that we have on our outboard stations. You can add smoke winders if you want to, okay. And a LEU 68 rocket pod. But we're going to run those clean today. Then moving over to the cannon stations, this is where you would convert your aircraft to a AC-130. So you have the 20mm cannon, the 30mm, I thought it was 40, and then the 105mm howitzer. Again, they're not going to render here, but they do, I promise. Then you have the option for a battle station, which will appear inside of the aircraft, or you can add a battle station with a targeting pod, which adds the targeting pod under the nose there. I think we'll just do the normal battle station. We're going to get rid of the halo there. Then for your cargo, there's tons of different cargo you can have. Right now we have a Humvee and I believe it's a Bradley that we're going to be dropping out of here. But your cargo it's a pretty extensive list here. We're not going to go over everything. So there's the airdrop and then the skid variants of all of these. Vulcan AAA, a BTR, BTR-82. I don't even know what Cobra, is that a vehicle or are we talking about the AH-1? I don't think that'll fit in the C-130. LEVs, Humvees, so you can see we got Humvees there. The old M113, I don't know what a Nona is. That must be some other NATO coalition. Sporka, I have no idea what that is. Generic crate, BMDs, BTRs, more Humvees, the Avenger, on the M1097, Chaparral, which is a air defense, air defense system. The SA-13 Strela, you can also add soldiers. Transport M818, what is that? That's a light APC, I believe. The Tiger, which is a Russian four-wheeled transport. And then the UAZ. So quite a bit of different cargo to look through. Like I said, today we're going to have a Humvee and a Bradley on board. And that's about it. Excuse me. As far as your ARC 180, 164 loads, you can change all of those if you want to. We're not going to be doing anything with that today. But that is about it. So we will hop back into the live sim and take a look at textures like we always do. Do a brief listen to sounds because there are some custom sounds in here, and then run through a full startup procedure, look at some of the other functions on the aircraft, and taxi out, do a quick demo flight, and then bring her back in. See you on the ground. Alrighty, getting started with the textures on the C-130. I've gone ahead and paused track IR temporarily. I'm also going to turn off my reshade just so we can get a better idea of what you guys are going to see once the aircraft is loaded in your sim. We'll go into the free camera and we'll start a look at the textures. So they're not, I wouldn't call them fantastic, but I do want to say that considering this is a free mod, they're pretty damn good. It's going to be a repeating theme of from a distance, everything looks good. Once you get real up close and personal, it's a little janky. I do actually like the detail that you can see the inlet to the turbofan. It just looks like crap. But whatever, it's fine. So you're not going to be blowing anyone away with a detail on the Herc. But that's not necessarily what this module is about. These systems and that sort of thing is where it really shines. So let's see, we've got a missile warning system, twin pair on the nose, one facing either side. And there are those pylons I was talking about missing on the editor. They're actually in both stations, regardless of if you load cargo or not. Let's see some of our cargo inside of there. Taxi light down there. Looking pretty good. There's our JATO rockets. So the flare and chaff dispensers will keep our tour of the outside going before we look inside. I'd say relatively good detail on that static wick there. It almost outshines the rest of the aircraft, if you ask me. I also like all of the additions of these antennae on top. I'm not sure what purpose they serve. I don't think I recall seeing them on normal C-130J models, but they could be there. We're not here to discriminate. Take a look at the flap tracks. Not modeled, but I don't know, at least there's a 2D adaptation. Back under the underside, you can see exhaust for the turbine. It's the same texture as the inlet. But, you know, something's better than just a dark hole, I suppose. Well, I think it's looking okay. We'll get a shot from the front. Yeah, I mean, all in all, I think it's fine. Let's make our way inside here. Take a look at what we got going on in there. As you can see straight away up into the flight deck. This is all fully modeled in here. So we've come up to the flight deck. This is where we're going to spend most of our time in the video. But we'll come back to here later. I'm assuming this used to be a flight engineer station, and it's been repurposed to, I couldn't tell you, radio operator or something like that. Then when we come back here to our weapon station that we've put in, this is the weapon station. Normally this would just be an empty bulkhead here. And then, where did it go? Oh, it moved. So that changes out. So when you have the weapon station on, there's normally a little radio stack here, but the weapon station looks like it has replaced some of that. So you got some UHF, VHF radios, I'm assuming arming stations, that sort of thing, switch selector, prep, simulation, power, yeah, so just 2D textures, but pretty cool nonetheless. Then on to our cargo, you see we've got a nice, this is the default DCS Humvee model here. So nothing new there. Smashed into the front of the Bradley, which is actually poking at the top of our airplane. Just wondering if you could actually realistically fit a Bradley in here, and it turns out no, you cannot. So here's our Bradley, and then continuing to, where are you? There? No, there. Where are you? There's a panel that's supposed to be for the Loadmaster station. There's one forward and aft, but I'm not seeing it right now. There's a different camera we can use to access that, but a very reasonably and nicely modeled interior here, even down with the coffee pots left and right. Little oil disposal area, or a service point for the Hydraulic system, rather. Ammunition crates. So that is the exterior. Let's head now into the cockpit. I'm going to re-enable track IR so we can look around freely. Textures are actually pretty damn good. They're, means I'm 1440p at full zoom. There is a little bit of degradation on certain stuff, but it's not bad. Let's get ground power going here, and we'll wake up the aircraft.
Chief, turn on the ground power.
That was assaultingly loud.
Copy.
At least for me it was.
Ground power is now on.
Okay, so ground power in the battery. So now you can see we've got some life on our displays. There's tons of different stuff we can do on the displays here. We'll just run through a few different things. So we'll go digital map, put it on HDD number 3, so you can see now we have a moving map. If I want to do a nav radar, we'll put that on HDD number 3, and I can do the same thing with number 2 as well. So lots of different options you can put on here. TAWS, I don't even know what that one looks like. 3? That looks the same. Engine, PFD. Can you put a PFD on? You can, look at that. So now we've got duplicate HDDs. And let's set that back to something else. Engine, nav, radar. We'll do system status. So there, now we're back to where we were. Lighting is a little bit lackluster on the aircraft. So far, the only controls and lighting I'm able to find is this guy here for your landing and taxi lights. You do have full model extending and toggleable individual landing lights. So if I want just the left landing light on, I can do that, and they're extending out now. Let's take a look at that. So there's the left landing light only on with both extended. If I want to retract the left landing light while leaving it on, I can do that as well. So there goes the left landing light stowing, but it's still casting on the ground, which is nice. And I can obviously do that for the other side as well. And there's a hold position, so if you wanted to hold them at a specific angle, you could. But we're not going to do that today. Landing light stowed. Nice ICAS down there. ACOS. I don't know. Air Force is weird. It's an ICAS working HUD, which is fantastic. We love to see it. Set aboard a powered up C-130J, and this is a pretty good representation. Working cockpit windows as well. You can see there. Let's go to the Loadmaster station. This is where the screen I was talking about before. And this panel here is what I'm after. So I can either close, once I'm flying, I can either close these cargo doors from the cockpit, or I can do it from here. So we'll take a listen to the pump. And that's a pretty true-to-life sound. We'll wait till we're close to 3,000 PSI, 2,900 probably, before we this thing up. You can also individually open and close the little side doors there, so should you so want to. Here's 2,000. This also has working lighting for the panel as well. Then you have a loading light as well that you can oh, my food's ready. I'm gonna go get my food, and then we'll resume here. Right. So on extended jaunts to the oven later, let's go ahead and look at our ramp loading system. So we've got the closed door raise ramp. Switches our pumps on. We're at 3,000 psi. So let's go ahead and close the door first. You can see our psi drops as our ramp door shuts. So that's the ramp door closed, and then we can raise the ramp. can hear the pump kicking back in to give additional pressure. So that is the ramp shut. Pump can come off. And our PSI will slowly drop over time. What other views do we have? So there's that one. We already looked at the weapon operator station. I wonder if these have displays when you put guns. Oh, that's the guy I was looking for. This is what I was talking about before. I guess it just doesn't spawn when we're in the free camera mode, which is fine. And we can go back to our first officer seat as well as our SIC seat. Stop that annoying jitter from my HOTAS. And I think next up we'll walk through a startup. So let's do that now, I suppose. We already have the APU running from before. I'm going to leave our power source from the APU. We're going to turn on bleed air. Maybe. Hello? Oh, I never turned it on. That might help. So we're going to turn on the APU. Wait for it to do its thing. Then we'll turn on our bleed air. Don't need to do anything with the fuel switches. To me, it would make sense to say set these to from, but the only one I can click is our external tank. So all of these other ones are non-applicable as far as I can tell. APU's at 100%. So there's our bleed air pressure coming up. 40, what was that, PSI? Probably. And we'll start the inboard engines first. So I'm going to go engine number 3 first to run, to start, 2, 3. We'll come back to our engine monitoring page, watch engine 2 auto start. It's all a full FADEX system, so no extra input from us is needed. Real nice sound effect on startup. So that is engine number 3 started. We'll repeat the process for engine number 2. To run, then to start, 2, 3. And this process will just repeat for all 4 engines. While engine number 2 is coming up to life, we'll go ahead and bring in a little bit of flaps. We're going to close those paratrooper doors as well. I believe that is Shift D, if I'm not mistaken. Nope, it's the main cargo entrance. Alt B, and Control D. Right. Yeah. Inboard engine started, past tense. We'll go to number 4, 2, 3, on. This will give us some time to reset those landing lights, so we want them fully extended. Wait till the motor light extinguishes. And they might actually just stay... Yeah, board position. So yeah, we'll go to the hold position for them now. And last but not least is engine number 1. 3. Engine number 1 rather is coming up. We're going to turn on our aux pump. Make sure we got pressure in there. If it falls below a certain value, I don't remember what it is, but it automatically pumps the pressure for the doors, the rear ram doors, up to 3,000 and shuts off. We also have an air deflector in front of the troop doors. So if you're doing a parachute drop out of the rear doors there, you can open those. Obviously, we're going to want those shut for the JADO takeoff today. So we'll do that. Okay. So that is four engines started. We'll go ahead, disconnect ground power.
Chief, turn off the ground power.
We've got all 4
Copy.
engines running, external power off, and battery voltage is holding. We'll shut the
Ground power is
APU
now
bleed,
off.
let it cool down. No real change in engine EGT. Normally you'd see engine EGT fall, but it actually seems to be rising just a hair. Do a quick flight controls check. Should bet they are free and correct. Just there, a little bit of shimmy on the nose wheel when you hard over on the rudder, which is kind of funny. So you hard over on the rudder, the nose wheel turns, and so does the aircraft. That's semi-realistic, actually, if I remember correctly. It's a really big tire turning there, so you would get a little bit of airframe deflection. I don't know if it's quite that much, but nonetheless, let's throw on the taxi lights. There's a separate taxi light on the main landing gear, so we'll turn those on. While we taxi out here, flaps are good and set. No park brake to worry about. Let's power out. Shut that canopy window. And check our ACOS. Looks to be good. Our APU's had enough cooldown time. We'll shut down the APU. Oh, I didn't realize that window was open still. Alright, I'm going to back taxi here down runway 16, I believe. No, down 34. We'll be heading 16 to take off 34. Just looking at the windsock there, it's a pretty moderate crosswind, so we're just going to take the shorter taxi option today. And I will be back for a jet-assisted takeoff in the C-130J mod. Alrighty, rolling up to runway 34 now. Let's go ahead and turn on those landing lights. No checklist or anything like that to run through. There is a downloadable checklist available. I'm going to turn my EMB back on for a little more immersion factor. Take one more look at the C-130 from the outside. Looks much better with reshade on, in my opinion. As you can see from that windsock, we're mild to moderate direct crosswind here, so we're going to have to work the rudders a little bit while taking off. Shouldn't be too big of a deal. Let's stand on the brakes, run up the motors just a little bit. And brakes off. Power to full. Alright, airspeed is increasing, 40 knots. I doubt it'll happen, but if we do rotate prior to the ramp point there, we'll retract gear and flaps, and we'll hit the JADO as we cross the ramp. Otherwise, we'll hit the JADO right as we're Sorry, I thought there was an aircraft on approach, right as we're crossing the ramp. 111, aircraft should become buoyant. There is airborne status. Let's hit the JADO. Gear coming up. No real effect for the JADO other than the smoke trail there, but it is cool to see nonetheless. Remember seeing the JADO Fat Albert takeoffs back before those were not allowed anymore. Very cool thing to see. Alright, so we are airborne in the Herc. I'm going to relax the rudder just a little bit here. And we'll start our Up on her for a second. Look at that shadow down there. Doesn't that just look cool, man? Going through AMT school, I was in a program the same time as a guy who worked on the H models. Heard. 180 knots. I don't really see how that's possible, but whatever. Keep our turn going. Not the most maneuverable aircraft, but we don't really expect it to be either, so. Alright, first pass on. A lot of weight on the airplane still, so we'll just do a simple left-hand bank flyby. Over the ramp, which I think is also playing a show center. I need to trim the airplane out a little bit, too. Alright, and wing to the left. Gonna leave the landing lights on for the full duration of the flight. I don't have a bind for them, and it's really the only external lighting that we get on the aircraft right now, so we'll take what we can get. Next up, we're going to do a cargo drop, so let's go ahead and open the ramp door. In 2 notches of flaps. Maintain our speed and our descent rate. There's actually 3 options for, 3 binds, I should say, for the cargo drop. You can either drop rear, mid, forward, or all, so that's 4, not 3. 4 options for the cargo drop. We are going to be selecting the all option as we make our pass here. Those new assets, those look like 737s. We're on the default Persian Gulf map. I remember seeing those before, but I could be mistaken. Alright, from the outside, the C-130 cargo drop. Cargo's disappeared. Now we're a heck of a lot lighter and slightly more maneuverable. Cruising through 200 knots now. Obviously, I've never flown a C-130, but just based off of external flights that I have seen, aerobatic displays and that sort of thing, I think this is fairly accurate. It's a very, I don't want to use the word mushy, but it's, you know, it's a big airplane, so you can't bang around the controls like you would on an F-18 or an F-16 or something like that. Alright, from the right, the C-130J. Oh. Getting a little bit of PIO going on. Coming out right. Get a little bit of a minimum radius turn going on here. I did want to throw the nose up quite a bit just because we're going to lose some altitude as we start to come around here. It's already happening, actually. And as we come out over show center, we'll pull into the vertical. Currently at 210 knots. The C-130J. Vertical pull. about that, huh? Alright, we will go ahead and get set up for a landing next. I do love the flare and chaff pattern. You can, I would imagine, defeat some pretty heavy missiles with the countermeasures this aircraft has on board. Just by the sheer volume of it. Alright, we'll pull power back a little bit. We're roughly paralleling the runway. We're going to attempt to do a tactical approach to the field. Wish me luck. It has not gone smoothly for me so far. But who knows? Maybe the time that I'm recording a video and trying to one-shot everything, it will. It won't. But that's okay. What I do need to do is lose a lot of speed here. Drop gear.
Landing gear.
They're down. Yeah, they're in transit at least. Speed check 140. The aircraft becomes really, really mushy, really slow to respond at these lower speeds, which you would expect. Looks really cool, fully configured. Let's take a look. Oh. Forgot I did that. There we are, fully configured. I mean, at a glance, I mean, this looks better than the default DCS C-130, so I really can't hold much against it. It looks good, it flies good. It's modeled well. The available armament is nice. Alright, this is going to be interesting to do with a crosswind landing as well. So let's go ahead and start to gain just a little bit of altitude here. I'm going to sit up in my seat. Alright, flaps set full. I've had issues with the beta in the aircraft. I'll show you there's multiple buy-ins for it, but I can't seem to get the beta to work. So we might have to do just a max braking, which is fine.
Stall. Stall.
Alright, nose in.
Stall.
Look at us fighting that crosswind like an airliner. Our tail's about the size of one. There we go. Yeah, no beta power. Nothing for beta, so we'll just exercise the braking system. It's unfortunate because when it does work, this thing can stop like no one's business. But we'll just do a conventional landing for today. Get the landing lights shut off and retracted. We can stow the HUD. And we'll open up our canopy windows so that our FO can fly the flag. The side it's not actually modeled, but a lot of times that's what you'll see. Is they'll either do it out of the top portion if it's outfitted, or more than likely they'll just stick a flag out there. Shut down the outboard engines. And we'll relight the APU. I think we'll taxi right back into the stand where we began. the sun's coming out in the real world. Track IR is having an absolute nightmare. Alright, it's fully deconfigured, flaps are fully up, outboard motors are off, the props didn't feather, which is interesting. They're still in operation. Is there a feather mode? Oh yeah. Feather. I'm guessing hydropower has been lost to them already. Nope, there they go, because we have hydropower elsewhere. Fantastic. Tax it off so we don't blind everyone. No, track IR, that's the sun. Look at me. No. Alright, well, looks like track IR is gonna have to take a little nap here. Just go back. Just trying to do my ouch. Ah, got you, idiot. Idiot. Track IR is now paused successfully. A little bit sideways, but we'll take it. Okay, APU still didn't successfully start. Do I need to hold it? Yeah, okay, I needed to hold it for a little bit longer. Alright, ground idle for the 2 remaining motors. Go ahead and drop the rear door. And we'll shut down engine 2 as well. While we're waiting on the APU, I can't do that. This is in flight sim. Sternal power on the APU. And bleed air for the APU as well, please. And that should be it. We'll go final engine number 3 to feather and shut down. And that, you guys, is going to do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I do dearly appreciate it, as always. And I will see you in the next one. But until then, as always, take it easy.